What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into the numbers of what this thing made, this video is gonna be pretty short. We're just gonna focus on two things. One, if you decided you wanna swap in a 302 into an older car and you're curious, just what is it gonna make horsepower wise? This is gonna tell you that because this is totally a bone stock 302. I'll show you a video of the motor real quick here in a second. Bone stock 302. All it has is an Edelbrock 650 carb and some sort of generic, I think it's like a Typhoon or something, dual plane intake, nothing crazy performance. It doesn't have headers, it doesn't have, anything. It has nothing. It's just totally stock out of an 87 F-150. So this should give you a good idea for what your engine could make if you're looking to do a V8 swap, if you've got an old V6 and you're curious, how much power am I gonna pick up to the wheels? I think this is a really good example of what it will make. Okay, like I said, this is gonna be like any 302 that you pull out of the junkyard. Now this came out of an 87 F-150, so it would have been fuel injected from the factory. But as you can see, it has a dual plane intake on it. Nothing fancy. It's got the Edelbrock ABS2 650 carb. And it's been tuned up in the sense that I know that the fuel pressure is correct. It's got a fuel filter in it. I've checked the timing. So, basically this should be a good indication of what this will make if it's in proper running order. If you pull something out of the junkyard, it may not make this much power or torque. Quick shot of those manifolds. As you can see, these are not performance manifolds. Full length exhaust all the way out the back. Exiting at the back of the car, so it doesn't have turn downs or anything like that. And I think those are like a 2.5 inch pipe. So let's throw it on the dyno, see what it makes. Well, let me know what you thought. Some would say probably a little bit underwhelming, but remember this was from the 80s. So I'll post down here on the bottom what an 87 F-150 truck motor would have made. And that's on an engine dyno, okay? So if we take our numbers, and what I like to do is, because this is a manual transmission car, maybe we say that you divide that by 0.85. And that's kind of a good way. You could do it by more if it was an automatic. Maybe you'd assume 20% drivetrain loss, but you got to kind of reverse the numbers so you can make it apples to apples. And when you do that, what you find out is actually this motor is pretty healthy. It's putting down about the same, a little bit more horsepower than stock, but almost identical, but it does make more torque. So I don't know if that has to do with the fact that those F-150s, I don't know, I'm not really sure. But basically when you look at those numbers on the graph, which I'll post here again, back to back are pretty consistent. That third run, which I think is a green line, that was done in third gear. And basically when you're down a gear, it's gonna read lower because you're not in a 1-to-1 ratio. So fourth gear in a T5 is a 1-to-1. That last pull is in third, just to see if the air fuel changed. It was a hair lean. I think it ran out to about a little over 13. You'd like to see that 12.5, 12.8, so you could richen it up a little bit, but I honestly don't think that that is gonna like magically you're gonna get 30 horsepower out of it. So hope you found that useful. Now let's give you some more clips of the exhaust so you can hear what this sounds like. We'll run it through the gears, try and trip the tires, have some fun with it. All right, now that you've heard it, kind of what's next. So I'm really kind of going back and forth on what I want to do with this car. I did start to buy some parts for it. I can always take these back. I've got a pretty trick Edelbrock. Well, actually, this is a Ford Performance. I know it says Edelbrock on it, but that's just because it's their castings. This is a pretty trick single plane. So I've got a big single plane for it. And I'm really kicking around the idea to put on a set of trick flow heads. They're CNC'd 11R heads, and maybe a trick flow cam or a comp XE274R HR. We'll see. If I do that, the goal with this car will be to double the horsepower. So go from what it made, 170 to like 340, and a little similar torque. So if we could do that, it would really wake this thing up. We might have to change the rear gears to like a 373 just to take advantage. That'll bump the compression up. It'll do a bunch of things. I've got to decide if I want to do that or not with this car. But if I do, you can be sure you will see more of it on this channel. So I appreciate you guys watching this short video. Let me know if you have more questions about this setup or you want to see more stuff. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and check me out again next time on Truck and Roll. Have a good weekend.